Good day, everyone. Today we are considering handling questions on comprehension passages. Handling questions on comprehension passages. Now, what is comprehension? Oftentimes I'm faced with this question. What is the meaning of the word comprehension itself? Simply put, comprehension means understanding. It's not something that is far-fetched. Comprehension simply refers to understanding. Understanding. Understanding of what? Understanding of a given passage. Understanding of a given passage. When you are given a passage, you are not expected, especially in examinations, to write the way you are writing in primary school. You are not expected to write the way you are writing your JSS classes. Understanding this given passage will make you write better. And that is why when you are dealing with comprehension in WAEC, in NECO, you are not expected to just read or gloss over and write the answers. There are steps. That is why we are dealing with this. How do you handle the questions given? Number one rule that you should note is when it comes to comprehension, take note. The passage can come from anywhere. Anywhere. It can come from history. It can come from literature. Can come from science and technology. It can come from news, live broadcast. They will just call it and then they set questions on the given passage. So number one thing you must do when dealing with questions in comprehension is you read at least twice. Read at least twice. Any given passage. Many times candidates feel time is against them, and so they don't take time to read. They simply gloss over. No, it should not be that way. It should be read at least twice for a thorough understanding. Number two thing that you do when handling questions on comprehension passages is that you write your answers. Write answers in your own words. In your own words. Write answers in your own words. What does this mean? When you read a given passage, you are not expected to simply write from the passage the answers. When you write down your answers, you write with the understanding, comprehension, with the understanding of the given passage. And when you are writing your answers, you use synonyms. Use synonyms here. Synonyms. Let me give us an example. A story was told of a particular man, I think May, June 1995. His name is called Olia. He visited his village to see to his father's failing health. And, the situation around bothered him. No good toilet, no pipe-borne water, no clean water to bathe himself. He was so angry. He wanted to leave that same day, but he could not. So he had to endure the night. So the following day, to compound his problems, he was having his bath, and the madman took away his clothes. In anger, he ran after the village's madman, and of course, he was taken for another madman. He was not mad, but was just angry. Now, at the end of the passage, a question was asked, what are the facilities lacking in the village? Obviously, they didn't state in the passage that there was no pipe-borne water, there was no good toilet, but they implied it. If there is no understanding, if there is no comprehension of that passage, answering that will be a problem. So the question was asked, what are the facilities lacking in the village? And I say you must write the answers in your own words. So you say, facilities lacking in the village are pipe-borne water, electricity, and good toilet. Pipe-borne water, electricity, and good toilets. Another rule of answering questions in comprehension passages is that you punctuate properly. Punctuate answers properly. Punctuate answers properly. Many times candidates fail to do this and they lose valuable marks. When you are writing the answers to comprehension passages, you don't just write. You don't start a sentence with small letters. You don't write proper nouns in small letters, and so on and so forth. You must punctuate. When you should start with a capital letter, where you should put full stop, where you should put apostrophe, all of these are important. If they are not there, what we do when we mark is we simply circle where you should have put your full stop, and we identify the absence, and you lose half a mark. Number 4. Answers must be written in complete sentences. Answers must be written in complete sentences. Answers must be written in complete sentences. Please do not write your answers in phrases. When they say, what are the facilities lacking in the village, for instance, I keep referring to that because it is a very interesting passage. Your answers must be written in complete sentences. Don't just write pipe-borne water, poor toilet, or good toilet, or, electricity. It must be written in complete sentences. You could say there was lack of electricity, or simply put, electricity was lacking in the village. Pipe-borne water was lacking in the village. Good toilets were lacking in the village. Incomplete sentences. Okay, the next step to take when handling questions on comprehension passages is this. I don't know the number, but let's just call it the method or methods of answering questions. Here we have many methods, but we are considering 2 methods of answering questions. We have preamble method, and we have direct method. Now, for record's sake, there are very many methods. You could start with a familiar reading of the given passage, then glance through the questions, and then go back to the passage, read again, and then answer the questions. Another method is simply read the given passage twice, and then you go for the questions. But please, no matter how familiar the passage may be, try and read again. Now, more specifically, we have these two methods of answering comprehension questions. Number one is preamble. Just like it says, preamble. This means that you pick parts of the question and then you link with the answer. For instance, why was Olia angry in the passage? Why was Olia angry in the passage? Preamble method will say, Olia was angry in the passage because he was tired of the village. That is preamble. Olia was angry in the passage. That is preamble. You have not answered the question. Your answers begin from he was angry with this village. Now, direct method will simply go for the answer. No story, no preamble, no introduction. Why was Olia angry with the village? There were no facilities that he wanted. So, preamble will take parts of the question and then give the answer. Direct method will simply go for the answer. Let me take that again. Preamble method is lengthier. It is more detailed. It gives more words. Let me give you this. Why did Tunde visit the village? Preamble method will say he visited the village to see his grandmother. Why did Tunde visit the village? Tunde visited the village to see his grandmother. Direct method, very direct to the answer. It was to see his grandmother. We can see the difference in the number of words. Let us be more specific now. Preamble method will say Tunde visited the village to see his grandmother. 8 words. Direct method will say it was to see his grandmother. 7 words. 1 word less. 6 words. Okay. Preamble method is usually longer, while direct method is shorter. And these are the methods of answering questions on comprehension passages. Another step to be considered in handling questions on comprehension passages is the tense of the question. The tense of the question must be considered. The tense of the question. If the question is asked in the past tense, you write the answer in the past tense. E.g., what happened to the old man? The answer will be, he died. Or what happened to the old man was that he passed on. Or what happened to the old man was that he died. Don't answer questions asked in the past tense in the present tense. You will lose valuable marks. Another step is the number of the question must be considered. The number of the question must be considered. The number of the question must be considered. What do we mean by the number of the question? Number here has to do with whether a given question is asked in the plural or in the singular. Who were the men that went to the village? Or who was the man that went to the village? So if it is asked in the plural sense, you answer in the plural sense. If it is asked in the singular sense, you answer in the the singular sense. Another rule, so to say, that we must consider when handling questions on comprehension passages is that when you are asked to give two answers in one question. You are not to lump the answers together. That is, the required number of answers should be given only. The required number of questions should be given. Don't give less, don't give more. Should be given. The required number of questions should be given. For instance, mention 3 facilities lacking in the village. Don't give 2 and don't give 5. It is not the more you give, the more you receive in this one. In fact, the more you give, the less you get when it comes to marks. Keep to the rules. Students have what they call ITK. I too know. Don't do that. Don't act as if you know it all. In the passage, you may have 10. But if they ask for 2, give 2. If they ask for 3, give 3. Don't give 5. Don't give less. Another step to be considered here is when it comes to word replacement. We call it word replacement. Word replacement. There are 5 things that must be considered. Usually towards the end of the passage, they will say, give another word or phrase in the place of the following words. There are 5 things you must consider when replacing those words. First thing you must consider is the context. Another one is the appropriateness. Each of them will soon be explained, but let us put them down. And the third one is the part of speech. The part of speech. The fourth one is the tense. And the 6th one is the number. Now, I start with the context. What is context? The context is the environment of a given word. How a particular word is used in a certain context. Let us consider the word action. Action. Action has many meanings. If you keep staring at me, I will take a legal action against you. What that means is I will take a legal step. I will take you to court. I will sue you. Same action. Action can also mean deed, behavior. Your action yesterday was bad. Your attitude, your behavior, and so on. So the context of a word as used in the passage is what the examiner is asking for, not the general meaning. So when they say Sule is a poor student, Sule is a poor student. The word Sule there, the word poor there, are we talking about financial poverty? Or we are talking about intellectual poverty? So you must consider this. That's the meaning of that context. What does it mean? So if they are referring to Sule as being dull, then you are talking about intellectual poverty. So in that case, you won't say Sule is a poor student, that is from a financially, bankrupt home. No, you say he's a dull student. Another word, or another step, and another concept you must consider is appropriateness. You have chosen a word to replace another. How appropriate, how fitting. You must consider all of these 5 principles within few seconds for every word, usually 6 words maximum, minimum 5. And so for the 6 or 5 words, you must consider in few seconds all of this. And so appropriateness will mean how fitting, and that means the word that you have been given to replace, you remove it mentally and you put in what you have chosen. If it goes smoothly, then you are good to go. If it does not go, that means you must reconsider. Another step you must consider here is the part of speech of the word. I used Sule is a poor student. Sule is a poor student. Sule is a poor student. And we agree that this word poor refers to intellectual poverty, and that means dull. Dull. So, what is the part of speech of the word poor? It is actually an adjective. And so, when you are considering replacing the word poor, you consider the part of speech. And that means you are not to replace it with a noun. You can't say Sule is a dullness student. That would be inappropriate. So, Sule is a dull student. Another word that you must consider is a tense. Is the word in the present tense or in the past tense? So when you want to replace, you replace accordingly. And the number, is the word given singular or plural? Otherwise, you may give a wrong answer. Now, lastly, you must read through your answers. Questions have been raised on the following: appropriateness and tense. The questions were, for appropriateness, I said then you are good to go when you have found a proper, so to say, an appropriate, a fitting word. Then you are good to go. It means you are good to go when that particular word is to the mind or is very accurate according to the passage. Accurate to the mind of the writer, accurate to the expectation of the examiner, accurate to the expectation of the examining body. And then let us give an example for that appropriateness again. When I say he drives recklessly, and the word recklessly has been chosen to be replaced. Recklessly here, you consider the context, like I told you, you consider the appropriateness, consider the tense, consider the number, and so on. Here, the most fitting word according to the context will be carelessly. And this word is an adverb. So you replace it with another adverb, not another part of speech. And for tense, like we told you earlier, simply means time when an action occurs, past, present, or future. And so here, if I say, he looked at me intently. He looked at me intently. The tense of this is in the past. And that means you are not to replace it with a present tense. It should be replaced with a past tense word. And that will be stared at me intently. Look at the word stare, also in the past tense. So you are not to say he stared at me intently. It must also be in the past tense. Read through your answers. Answers must be read through to be sure that you have dotted your I's, you have crossed your T's. And that's how to handle questions on comprehension passages. Thank you.